Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and this video is a little bit, I guess, different than what I do because I don't really cover TNA that often. But I feel like this is a pivotal point in TNA's future that is worth covering because TNA Genesis just happened, and a lot of stuff happened in this weekend. Three major events, I think, to kind of push this company forward, and I kind of felt like it was kind of an interesting thing to bring up. So we're gonna go over it, and yeah, let's start with it. So let's start with the thing that's not really part of the core three, but like something that is big with this NXT deal that they're doing, or the WWE deal with NXT. I feel like we saw it kind of start off there, and I honestly think it's going to be a good idea. A lot of people are on the fence about it, but I saw how what we saw in the last year and having these people, kind of go coexist, and I think it worked out really well. I mean, we saw Cora Jade, we saw Fraxium come. I think both of those were really cool ideas to have, and I think it was a cool idea. I feel like this event of like this culmination of like alliance, I think is going to be really cool. But we got to talk about the three other events because the rest of the TNA empire seems to be shifting. So let's start with something that didn't even happen on this show, but it happened on the same day, which was PCO, who's like the what is you call it, the TNA Digital Media Champion. He destroyed the championship and went on a huge TNA rant at a GCW show. I did see it. I was kind of just like, is this part of a thing? But apparently it's not. And yeah, that's kind of a crazy thing to have somebody randomly go off on the TNA and everything about it. They really like because most of it got cut off. I don't really know exactly what he was trying to do with it. I think he's still under contract for a decent amount of time, but I can't imagine you would want to keep a guy around if he's going to be talking like that about your company and destroying your belt. Um, I think they're going to probably try to bury it as a work, but I don't really think it was. So I guess we'll see how it goes. I mean, I feel like that's a big thing when you're trying to get this like alliance and this stuff going to have somebody who is a active champion destroy your stuff there. And I think that kind of shows off that, not a lot of people are happy about this deal, and maybe it's not about the deal, maybe it's just about all the other stuff that's happened, but it kind of felt that way. And yeah, I think that's kind of a big thing to talk about because I think I mean, we obviously like you don't see that happening that much, and on a different show. And that GCW show I've heard has been a disaster. I watched it, I might do a review on it, but like I feel like a lot of stuff happened that was all over the place at that show, and this did not also help with that because it put a negative light that they kind of let it happen. But I don't really necessarily believe that was the thing, but I think they thought it was more of a story. That's what I've been told, that they said it was like a story, that's what he said it was, but TNA definitely didn't have it planned as a story. So I guess we'll see. Next up, I guess this would be the next major thing, was Josh Alexander saying I quit on the I quit match, and then saying that he quit TNA. I do believe like this is kind of partially a work slash the truth. I think he was already leaving. A lot of people said he's kind of already going to the WWE, and I've also heard he's in that Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, the Canadian one that was headed by the former TNA creative director, I think. So I think that could also possibly be a thing. I mean, it's kind of a major thing to just see a person leave, and I'm not necessarily sure if that's how they like set it up, that they did it as part of the deal for like their culmination of like talent, that like if his TNA stars going to WWE, they're gonna kind of work it like that and maybe not have him have to pay out the rest of his contract. I think they said he was like almost done, I think is what they said, but like they made it seem like it was like a work, or like it was part of the storyline. So maybe it was. So this one isn't as major of a deal. I think it's one of those things. I guess it's just depending on why he's leaving or why he did that type of stuff. Because it feels like it's kind of a work to, if he is going to WWE, it would be like a natural transition to WWE. And yeah, I think also seeing that Joe Hendry winning the championship and then him, already having that connection with NXT made a lot of sense because he's gonna go down there with the belt and show it off, and you're gonna see the maybe even a Royal Rumble thing. You're gonna see that belt, and then you'll think of TNA, and it's gonna work as free advertisement. And I think it works out for both companies that way. So that whole thing right there with like the men's division is kind of a big deal. But yeah, we'll go to the biggest thing that happened, which was the Tessa Blanchard and Jordan Grace match. There's two parts to it. Obviously, the bigger part is the Tessa Blanchard being part of TNA. I feel like it's a very bad look for them, and I think this was supposed to be like a test to me. I felt like it should have been a test to see, like, hey, let's try this out, let's see what it works, and if it doesn't work out, then we should, not do this. And hopefully it happened like that because the crowd was not into it. They do not want her as part of TNA, and I cannot see why you'd want that because I know you're losing people, but like that is not the person to have if the crowd can't get behind her. Even in like a, like cheap heat. No, she had full heat that just people hate her guts. So like why have that? Like it's not even like a good thing to have. Like she's not a bad wrestler and she would be worth keeping around for the wrestling if it wasn't for all the outside stuff and like just that there's no accountability from her for that stuff, so people just have not forgiven it. So why use her when you're doing all this WWE partnership? It feels like this is the perfect time to get rid of it. And I think that part of it might also be because they think they have that kind of that protection. Like they're like, oh, well, other people are thinking about other things. But yeah, this is three people leaving the company for three different reasons, with Jordan Grace leaving. About to get to that. But that's kind of a big deal. And yeah, Jordan Grace leaving the company, it seemed like everybody kind of knew ahead of time that she was probably going to WWE, and this was her last match, and it definitely felt that way, especially with seeing the stuff on the outside. So that's the big deal for them because she'd been a consistent workhorse for them and showing off that Knockouts championship and holding it. She obviously dropped it, so we kind of knew this was coming. And then she put over Tessa Blanchard, which she was just doing her job, but that really sucks for her because it kind of leaves on a sour note. Doesn't mean she's done with TNA because with this partnership, she could be back. But I feel like she probably shouldn't want to be back for a little bit. I think she needs that clean break for a little bit and let it kind of marinate. And especially if they're going to eventually get rid of Tessa, that probably a better chance to come back at that point. But yeah, those are some big things at TNA. It feels like a big turning point for them right now. Whereas that pivotal, like, end of the game, end of like the thing, what do you do? Because you got everything, you got a lot of momentum, but if you blow it, there might not be another time to save this company because they've had so many chances where they go up and down, and I think this is a big spot. They were even this time last year struggling to get along, and then they had some of this NXT stuff and it helped, and they started to fill in their arenas again and started getting wrestlers and started doing this, and this could be another big hiccup for them if they're having talent issues because people don't want to be there. And the WWE will help them with their partnership, but that's not going to save you if you're having this many issues with people in-house. But I guess we'll see. I just wanted to make a little rant video, and yeah, so if you like this kind of content, I do this every so often when it's something important, I guess. So yeah, it's been Japan. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, guys.